Hi all, Jess Kamoff here, mental performance consultant candidate, LPC, school counselor, coach, athlete, and general sports lover. I'm coming to you today. Last week I had done a webinar on returning to sport after a global shutdown. And when I had come up with the topic a few weeks prior, things were looking a lot better. We were getting back into tournaments, we were getting back into the pool, we were getting back on the field. And as time goes on, some sports are so restricted that they don't even look like the sport that they are. Others have shut down already due to positive cases, and other sports haven't really begun yet. So as we move into the fall, end of summer season and into the fall, and we're not sure how things are going to look, in the next few weeks, next few months. I just wanted to offer some tools that may be able to help with working on some skills and coping strategies during this very difficult time. The best quote I have heard so far is that we all are in the same storm together, but we're in very different boats. So first off, recognizing what boat you're in and recognizing that the boat next to you is most likely not going through it the same way that you are. And it's important for a couple reasons. The first is to recognize how you feel, because as we go through this, and if there's there's so many emotions and big emotions that sometimes it's hard for us to really recognize that, to take a moment to really dig deep and understand how we feel. A lot of us are going through this, in a very sad. Some of us are going through this as, hey, this is the only time in our lives we've been able to, take a break and be able to focus on family and our own personal, just having some time to ourselves. If you're a person who's very busy and never has time to do anything other than your sport or be a student, this may have been a welcomed break for you. For others, this could have been one of the worst things that could have ever happened in your mind. If you were going into your scouting season, if you were going into a season where, you were hoping to finish high school strong or college strong, as we know with the Olympics, sometimes some people put off, having a whole family, putting that time off because of the Olympics coming up and training. I know of two individuals that they gave up their jobs, so that they could have this last year to train for the Olympics. So they're in a, financial situation right now where they're struggling. So, and as we all know, Olympians do not get paid as much as they should, especially for everything that they do. But I really want to just to help everyone to understand that recognizing how you feel is important, recognizing that someone next to you may be going through it very differently, even a team member, if their parents are essential workers, or if they've had a family member who has, passed away from COVID or is having, major complications because of it. Financial situations are different all over the place. So just understanding to have some understanding right now and of others, and understanding that their situation may be different from yours. A next step to that would be to talk about how you feel. And I've had some clients and some athletes talk to me about how their go-to person, the person that they confide in, the person that they can trust, right now differs from them very much politically, or just can't understand because of how differently they're going through it. So you may have to go through, a different avenue to find someone that you can confide in. Maybe it's somebody that you've talked to in the past, or maybe it's somebody like, hey, they're always there for me, but I've never really gone, a step further to talk to them. But you may need to identify someone else during this time that may not just be your typical go-to person. Because of what we're experiencing right now, we've had a loss. We've had a loss of time. We've had a loss of sport. We can be going through this very similar to a grieving process that we would, if we lost, someone close to us. Any loss, can be experienced through grieving and understanding that your feelings may change day to day. One day you may be angry, the next day you may be in denial, but you understanding that this is going to be a process, and you are going to have your, feelings are going to change, and knowing that that's okay. And if you're a person who has not experienced much anxiety, or, you feel like you've been able to cope with it in the past, and right now it feels a little out of control, I also want to tell you that that's okay, because this is an abnormal time. You're not expected to know what to do. The experts and leaders don't know what to do right now. And so just knowing that you are human and that this is something that is going to be ongoing, and that your feelings and emotions are going to change throughout it, is really important to recognize and understand. If you're starting to feel that it's getting out of control, or you're starting to feel that you're not able to manage or cope, certainly reach out to a professional. Counselors and therapists right now are able to see clients online. A lot of the even co-pays have been lessened because of this. Some are even free. And so just being able to know that those resources are available, and if maybe you've thought about counseling in the past and didn't have the time for it, but do now, that's going to be really important, for you to see if things are starting to feel like they're out of control. But if you're feeling like you're not able to manage, also other coping strategies are important. I know that I've talked to some clients and athletes who just feel like now, like they got into a new hobby, the skill they've always wanted to get into, but they hadn't tried it before. I know there was an Olympic swimmer who had done a video, and she had gotten into golf, and she said, I've always wanted to golf. I never had time. And for her, that became a coping strategy because it did a couple things for her. It not only gave her something else to focus on, it gave her something active to do. And for her, it was that mental part of sport that she really missed. Golf is a lot different from swimming physically, but mentally she was able to kind of free her mind, and was able to learn some new strategies through that. So learning something new is definitely a good coping strategy. And being able to have a small success in there, if it's something that you've always wanted to do, and aren't mastering, but learning something new, you can have some small successes, and that kind of that little jolt of adrenaline that as athletes we get. But moving into the aspect of athlete, being an athlete, is that I want to remind you that you are so much more than just an athlete. And I think so many athletes identify just with what they do and not who they are. And you play a sport, you are an athlete, but there's so much more to you. And recognizing that, and recognizing who you are, and other aspects of yourself right now is really important, because there could be you could feel a little bit of identity loss right now, just because what you typically are doing is not there right now. And so just knowing that at some point, you most likely will get back into sport in some way, shape, or form, and knowing that it doesn't just make this doesn't define you. And that's really important, because some athletes are now talking about other things that they're interested in doing, or maybe this has shifted perspectives, or shifted some things for them that they I know there was one athlete I talked to who was ending their career, but felt it was really important, like through this time, just started to really feel a strong connection to volunteering, and getting into some philanthropy. And they hadn't really had time, or hadn't really focused on that before, and now they really want to. And so that's a new focus and a new passion that has kind of shifted throughout the pandemic for them, but because they had that time to now focus on something other than just sport. And another thing that I really want to stress to athletes during this difficult time is that if you're feeling that you're not connected, fostering connections is really important. So reaching out to other teammates, reaching out to coaches, and one real positive thing is that through all of this shutdown, people are becoming much more creative in their platforms and how they're able to get things out to people. So I've seen a lot more webinars on, athletes speaking, or, Olympians. I know that through Airbnb, the website where you can rent a vacation home, they actually have something called Airbnb Experiences now, where there's a whole list of different sorts of sessions that you can log. You have to pay, but you can log into that. They have Paralympians, they have Olympians on there that sometimes they're talking about their sport specifically. Sometimes they're talking about a general topic like motivation or working hard, or something that they went to school for, but they're representing themselves as an athlete. But I know I can't remember who it was, but it was a very good a collegiate volleyball player, and she now is doing financial planning. So it was, you could sign up, for $40 and sign up for a session with her and then meet with her live. So the accessibility part of this right now has been pretty unique and pretty cool, because we were able to have some more connection with athletes and with people that we may have not been able to in the past. And the last, kind of little tip I wanted to leave you with is just knowing that right now, even the day-to-day things, having a to-do list or having a plan for the next day. As athletes, we're typically so planned out. We have, our micro, macro schedules, and our eating plan, and practice plan, our competition plan, and being able to tomorrow's Friday. And so what are 3 things you can accomplish, and maybe writing those down, because number one, we're going to feel that little bit of success because we've gotten something accomplished, but it's also going to help us feel grounded. And right now, when we start to worry, or when we start to feel like we have a lot of anxiety with not knowing what's going to happen next, being able to be present and grounded and do some even mundane, even something small, is going to help us just feel like we're in the moment, and we're not worried about the future. We're not worried about past. We're just in the moment, and we're going to, take each day and each situation as it comes. I know one thing that I have changed during this time is I was at the beginning of this saying, when we return to normal, and I think it's safe to say that it's not going to be normal. It's going to be the next. It's going to be, something new, something different. So even just that little change in that verbiage has kind of helped me to wrap my brain around, this is not just going to go back to normal one day. This is going to be whatever's coming next. There's going to be a lot of change, I'm sure, due to everything. The ripple effect is going to be vast. And I believe we're going to be feeling this for a long time, everything that has happened during this shutdown. But knowing that, we can cope, we are strong, and we will get through this together is very, very important. So, in closing, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here today. And if there's anything that I can elaborate on that I discussed, or if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to reach out. And, we can do this. I know this is hard, and I know that we're all going through this differently, but we will be okay, and we will get through this. And so I wish you all the best, and get to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.